Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible. Hanging out and having teenagers swear at me. It's coming your way, Mafia. Carver High. They turn 16, forget it. They start cussing at you and turning on you. They're evil. The bad thing, the bad apple, the bad attitude, the bad attitude, bad tape, bad law, bad news, bad breath, bad attitude, bad vibes. We are live in the Magic City Studios in the Barolo Palatial. Right across the river and through the woods from our granny loves her Afghan Big Bud Indica in New York City. The Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directed traffic, some kind of fashion trade. I don't know if you do, but I'm up in the come out, flatter, party up, rats on the west side, bedbugs uptown. What a mess, ties of tatter, my brain splatter all over Manhattan. I'm so hot for her, I'm so hot for her, I'm so hot for her, and she's so cold. Hey, what's gigging? I'm Ferrall, along with your boy Carver High this afternoon. Mafia running it with AJ Foyt on a Thirsty Thursday, the birthday roll call. And make sure you watch this one, a special birthday roll call, Carver High, for you. Coming up at the end, Maria Kirilenko, 37. I don't even know who that is. AC Law, the 4th, 39. Zavi, 44. Radney Young, 51, with Marco Battaglia. Vincent Brisby, 53, with Kevin Williams and Herman Smith. Chris Mills, 54. Nolan Harrison, double nickels. Mark Schlereth, 58. Ace Satigan at 59. Bob Sweeney, 60. And our boy Chelly, 62. Here you go, Carver High. A bottle of Chelly. Autographed by Chris Chelios. A bottle of red. A bottle of white. Your boy, Chris Chelios, with his 62nd birthday today. Happy birthday, happy birthday, especially to Chelly. Jim Harbaugh returns to the NFL as the head coach of the Lipstick City Chargers. Wow. You knew it had to happen, and it did. Michigan's offensive coordinator, Sharon Moore, the favorite allegedly to replace Harbaugh at Michigan. They should be focused on making sure they make the right choice. Maybe he is the right choice. He did a great job when he was out. And that's, I think, what they're judging him by, correct? That he did a good job when Jim was suspended. But do you go after someone else bigger name? Do you really think Sharon Moore is going to win a national championship in Michigan? I'm just saying. You tell me. Panthers to hire Bucks OC Dave Canellis as their new head coach. Hopefully I got that right, because no one else has ever heard of him either. Patrick Mahomes knows the Ravens are going to be a tough challenge. We'll hear from the Chiefs wizard, plus Lamar on facing Mahomes, John Harbaugh on going up against his old boss, Andy Reid. We got all of that for you today, plus breaking down Kansas City, Baltimore. Chiefs guard Joe Thuney, unlikely to play Sunday with his pec injury. He tore his pec. He's not playing. Okay? When are people going to catch up with that one? Brock Montana wants to wash away the mistakes from last week. I don't think he can just do that. Jared Goff on the Lions having to go up against the Niners with good players as well. We have good players too, you know. Aiden Hutchinson wants this for the Detroit fans. Sure he does. Detroit and San Francisco will break it all down. Plus, Nick, don't call me Joe Sirianni, now focusing on being the head coach of the Eagles after everyone in Philadelphia turned on him. We welcome our radio affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 159 Sports Byline, and their radio affiliates, Deepak holding it down for us in the city. Vic Fangio out in Miami as DC. Now will join the Eagles as their DC, and Bill Vinovich will be the ref for Super Bowl 58. I'll give you this. He calls a good game, at least optically and vocally. He's as smooth as they get. He's got the most experience, and he actually lets them play. His problem is the losers that he works with. that throw flags for no reason whatsoever. They just want to throw flags, and then they have their big meetings on the field for 5 minutes. They ruin everything, honestly. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, holidays, NFL refs. Remember, ruin everything. Gabe Morency will join us this very hour from Vancouver and break down some bets for tonight. Plus, a day early and $1 short. Dr. Zhivago checking in from San Diego at sportsinjurycentralscore.com and at Pro Football Doc on X. He joins us from SoCal Cal, talking about all the injuries and everything else. Anyway, heading into the games, the title games this weekend, we'll break it all down with Dr. Chow. Plus, in the 4 o'clock hour, the second hour, we've got the mad scientist, again, per usual, on a Thursday. Lead analyst Warren Sharp from sharpfootballanalysis.com and at sharpfootball on X, talking about coaching changes, you name it, the Harbaugh hire in L.A., Panthers hire Canales, Bengals hire Brian Callahan. Dying ain't much of a living, boy. Dirty Harry Callahan, I just thought was right there, was a perfect time for that. Vic Fangio's gig, Shane Waldron going to Chicago as the OC. Plus, we'll break down the Ravens offense, and then we'll get into some other stuff. The Chiefs breakdown of their team heading into this game at the bank in Baltimore. And then we'll get all of his favorite props, plus the Niners on offense, Lions on offense, and talk about the refs in the title games favoring the road teams, allegedly. The Bucks fire Adrian Griffin so they can hire for $40 million the guy that never wins in the playoffs ever, the guy with 10 Game 7 losses. Count them, 10. He's lost 10 Game 7s. He has the most blown 3-2 series lead in NBA history. He has been with the Clippers with a loaded team and failed. He's been with the Sixers with a loaded team and failed. Now he's gone to the loaded Bucks to fail. He may be one of the worst coaches who gets credit for being a good coach in the history of the game. He won with a loaded Celtic team so long ago, no one even remembers. I remember the big ticket, though. Doc Rivers, better at broadcasting than coaching. Get ready, Milwaukee. You got him now. Get ready to lose in a Game 7. And you know it's coming. This guy never wins. He's like the Black Cloud Diner. Luka, the whiny crybaby bee, got a fan thrown out of the game last night that was giving him the business because he doesn't like refs or fans giving him the business. He's like Durant. Don't talk bad about me. I'm the greatest of all time. Luka, the whiny crybaby bee that he is. Although I do love his new shoes that cost me $200. I just wanted to say that. Rick Haro will join us, our sports business and legal insider. He's more fun than Luka, too, when you think about it. Where's Waldo when you need him? Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, will join us as well. Plus, we have to talk about all of tonight's games in the NBA and in the NHL. And I might add that I am gambling heavily on several of those hockey games tonight and college basketball games tonight. I got it all for you. Even some golf news on today's Coast to Coast. Go with it.
On Sunday night, as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game, an extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. Ravens and the Niners will be hosting their conference championship games.
But when I look for trustability on the football field, Patrick Mahomes always has your back.
The Niners go to Super Bowls, and the Chiefs go to Super Bowls. Now, it's really up to Lamar Jackson to stop that from happening.
When the game was on the line, Brock Purdy answered the bell.
They got a shot against the Niners because I don't think Goff will be overwhelmed by the moment.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
I
coast to coast.
want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on. There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's about to be a party in here. BetMGM's got all the sports betting in one place. And it's live, baby. Oh, we're placing money lines in real time. We got second half spreads and third set winners as they happen. Overs hitting in extra innings. Live is where the action is at. Can we get these people a promo? There it is.
So, if you get the SportsGrid app, you can actually watch the network on the app, listen to the network on the app, and it's free on iOS and Play Store for Android. Get it. Follow your favorite hosts like Carver High, and you can enjoy all the features and videos, highlights, odds, in-game odds. It's all there. The SportsGrid app. I think you're going to like it. BetMGM getting ready for the big game 58. Bet 5 and get 158 instantly. You heard me. Bet $5, and they're going to give you $158 instantaneously into your account. So you got to have an account. So download the app on iOS or Android and betmgm.com. Sign up, open your account, put $5 in it, bet $5, standard odds. And the minute you make the bet, they're going to give you $158 in bonus bets. And that is Shangri-La, where I come from. They're just giving you money. You're good to go at betmgm.com. I think you're going to like that as much as the SportsGrid app. All right, Carver High, here we go. Jim Harbaugh made his mind up. It's always follow the money. He had a lot of money on the table at Michigan and way more in the NFL.
Yeah, way more in the NFL. I don't know. I think money at the end of the day, we know that money always matters, right? But I think this just came down to he feels like he's got unfinished business, right? He won the national championship, did what he said he wanted to do, going back to Ann Arbor. Why not? What's left to do there, Sky? I guess fun. Go win another one after that. Sit on his $12 million. He wants to win a Super Bowl, and now he's got the charts and graphs king, Justin Herbert, that he's going to try to win one with. It kind of felt like that's where he was going to go, Scotty, as this kept moving along.
Well, it's certainly between he and his brother, their legacy is already in place, I think, in the NFL. What he did with the Niners was unbelievable. And, he coached I think, with the Raiders as an assistant, and then got the job with the Niners, and then went to title games, went to Super Bowls, lost to his brother. And I think you're right. Unfinished business. Go back, try to win a Super Bowl with Orange Sherbert, and we'll see if he can get it done with that team. I'll say this much. They never sniff it. So if he does this, now he's done everything else. They said he couldn't beat Ohio State. They said he couldn't win a natty. He did all of that, all of the above, check the boxes. So he's been to the Super Bowl and lost. He needs to, I guess, to finish his career off and top, the Cool Whip on the cake. Go get it. Win the Super Bowl. Let's see if he can do it. Look, I won't deny that I think he'll do a way better job than anyone's done with Herbert. Herbert is a prototypical, great, big, strong-arm quarterback. Big body. I like his size. Love his arm. I've said a million times he never wins. So I think that this guy might be able to rub that off on him, teach him how to win.
Well, he's a winner. There's no question about that. He's won everywhere that he's gone. Stanford, 49ers, Michigan. He wins. Right. He turns things around right away. I heard you mention just quickly on the Michigan side of things with this Sharon Moore, who obviously coached the team all the games that he missed this year, coached the Ohio State game, coached the Penn State game, etc. I think you're right. I think it's dangerous to maybe put somebody and give them that job full time with really no experience. That's a heavy job, Scotty. That's not coaching at Purdue or somewhere else. That's Michigan. Michigan, right. Alabama. It's a very big job. But I think they're going to at least let him try it at the start. They're a little far along now in the process. Harbaugh probably wants him to be the coach. They're going to give him a year. I'll tell you this, though. If it don't go well next year, he'll be out right away, and they'll go get some big fish at the end of next year. I do think they'll give him a shot, though, right away.
Fair enough. I think that I would agree with all that sentiment because, like I said, there has to be somebody up there that questions it, not based on any reason other than they let him fill in for Harbaugh. All he did was run the system that Harbaugh has in place. I don't think he did some magnificent coaching job. I think you got a loaded team, a veteran team, an aged team like prime beef, and they went out and they, lost in a playoff, and then won the national championship. They don't need Sharon Moore to tell them what to do on the football field. He got credit for it, okay? He got credit for keeping the ship above water as opposed to sinking their season. So I won't deny the guy did a good job not screwing it up. But then they're going to give him the reins. Here's what will happen. The minute he loses a game, they'll start crucifying him. I mean, look at Ryan Day. Ryan Day is a perfect example of a guy that had it all, and everyone thought he was God's gift to coaching. And then he started losing to Michigan, and he started losing 2 games a year, and they have turned on him. Now, Here's what they're doing now. They're loading up like for war in Columbus. Like they got the quarterback, they got every kid, they got Downs coming there from Alabama, they got O'Brien coming in there. They literally are loading up every gun to get Michigan and get back to the playoff and win a national championship. And if he doesn't win, they're going to fire him in Columbus. And that guy, they turned on him so fast when he lost 2 games a year. If this guy Moore loses one game, they're going to turn on him. He won't be able to sleep at night. He's going to have to go into hiding, witness protection.
It's very similar, like you said. It's like when, Urban Meyer left Ohio State. You're going to make this guy the coach, this kid, Ryan Day, the offensive coordinator, he's going to be the coach. And because he won 11 games, 10 games, and was getting to playoffs and was beating Michigan, nobody cared. Now he's losing those games, and now everybody wants him out. So you're right. The pressure builds, and if this guy loses some games this year, if they name him the coach, they'll be looking to get him out as well. There was one other hire.
They're going to lose games, Mike, because their whole team is gone. I know they got Edwards back, but the rest of the team's going to the NFL. There is no way that they're going to win every game, and so they're going to blame him.
Right. I agree. And they have just a bear of a schedule this year. I mean, they play Texas, they play Washington, they play Ohio State, they play USC. They got a very, very tough schedule that they got to deal with. Not as good a team and a new coach. Should be interesting. One other NFL hire for you from today. Dave Canales, Scotty, I'm sure you've a very household name, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He will now be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Dave Canales for you. There you go.
I got to say, I mean, honestly, so they've already said that Tepper's the new worst owner in the NFL.
Right, because he is.
Because of some of his actions and throwing drinks on fans. And
yeah.
But this is another bad move. Like, I'm sorry, but you're going to tell me that Canales is the reason that the Buccaneers did well? Let me just say 4 things. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans. That was it.
Right.
There was I never heard that guy's name once the entire year about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ever. And you're telling me that's who you hire to be your head coach? It goes to show you're going to get exactly what you wanted. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything with this guy. You're still going to suck, and that's all there is to it. This is a bad owner making a bad move again.
It's because he hasn't figured it out yet. He's still too new in the NFL. He hasn't figured it out that he's an owner. He should just own, let somebody else run the football. But he doesn't want to do that yet. So like the GM, they hired Dan Morgan. And we like Dan, Miami Hurricane, etc. But he's been with the Panthers the last few years while they've made all these bad decisions and sucked. Why wouldn't you bring somebody new in who's been on the outside to make the decision? So it's more of the same in Carolina, like you say.
I think it's a swing and a miss.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for a 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we got Morency in Vancouver. I wanted to get your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers.
Well, you know what, Scott? You and I talked a lot about the Rose Bowl, and you told me how it was heaven on earth, and it really was. Who would have ever imagined, Scott, that I would have been there for Nick Saban's last ever game and Harbaugh's last ever college game? Right. They're never going to coach in college again. Saban's gone, and Harbaugh is 60 years old. This is it. He's not going back to college after this. He got a 5-year deal with the Chargers, so you know, a pretty historical game in perspective when I look back on what I saw. You know, Harbaugh's done this 3 years in a row. Even when Michigan, weren't on top of the football world, Harbaugh would flirt with the National Football League. So this is not a surprise right now, and I guess we're not shocked it's the Chargers. If anything, I think the only thing that surprises any of us is that the Spanos family decided, you know what, we're going to do this for real. Right now, there is that connection. Of course, the Chargers, Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Chargers, right, for a couple of years before. And Harbaugh's, there's something about that with Harbaugh, right? The loyalty thing and the brand, and, once I put it on for you and stuff. So clearly, he did feel something as far as, you know what, I do have a connection to this organization. I do like the Chargers. I don't think it's a great job, Scott. And I'm not, put it this way, the odds makers, the Chargers were 30-1 yesterday, Scott, before they hired Harbaugh to win the Super Bowl. They're 30-1 right now. So, yeah, I don't know. It came down to 25-1 in a couple of spots type of deal. It took Harbaugh 9 years to build this thing in Michigan. Now, we should know he won the Sugar Bowl, I think, in his second year. Right? I think the first year was sort of whatever, and then the second year they made it to the Sugar Bowl and they beat Virginia Tech. And then it sort of, was sort of up and down for a couple of years, and it came together. But where I'm going with this is, Scott, there's no magic wand. I love Harbaugh to death. I don't think he's coming in and, the Chargers going to the Super Bowl this year.
No.
Dude, they're a flawed roster. And, in fact, when I say flawed, bad roster, Scott, they got a bunch of old dudes that are overpaid, man, serious money.
He's going to clean house.
Exactly. It's going to take, he's so good. He can get them into the wild card this year or something. They'll win 10 games. You know what I mean? They'll battle. But they're not. He knows this, as you stated. To me, it's a 3-year operation. He's got to clean house this year. He's got to get rid of the Bosas, the Max, the Mike Williamses, the Keenan Allens, Eckler, all of them, Scott. I know, Charger fan, you don't want to hear this.
But
Did you guys ever win with these guys making $40 million a year? No. It's over. You keep Justin Herbert, and you're starting all over around him. But the NFL, you're not that far off, bro, in the NFL. That's why I say give them 2 drafts, right? Stockpile some players this year, get some guys next year, start to shift Herbert into a winner instead of a stat quarterback, because I'm with you. I'm not people are like, why would he want the job? Justin Herbert. I'm like,
he doesn't win.
No, I thought the Falcon job was better, Scott. I don't know about you. Between you and me, I'm like, they got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, bunch of young dudes on defense, got the 8th pick in the draft. I can get a quarterback. I'm in a bad division in the NFC South. I think, to me, the Falcon job. So good for the Chargers.
They still haven't hired somebody down there. I mean, what are they doing?
I don't know. There seems to be a battle between blank, who owns the team, and the football people. I heard the football people wanted Harbaugh, and he's like, I want Belichick, and I'm the owner of the team. But now Belichick is getting cold feet about Atlanta, and it's the only place that wants Bill. Bill's going to be out of work. Nobody else wants to hire him. So
I'm not sure
and
it's
now
happening.
Word is that the Falcon job is slipping away from Bill right now as well.
Yeah.
Vrabel might be the front runner.
Wow, it's crazy. What do you think Sharon will do more at Michigan? We said if he loses one game, they'll turn on him in Ann Arbor like no one's business. Like they've turned on Day in Columbus, losing 2 games. They hate him now.
You know what I said, man? Harbaugh and Sharon Moore just robbed a bank together. Harbaugh just took off in a getaway car. Sharon Morris left outside the bank holding a bag right now. And the cops just pulled up. Yeah, no ride, and the cops just pulled up. Now it's on you. And, think about this, too, if you're Harbaugh. You got the NCAA on you. They weren't going to relent. Like, they were coming for him. So the NCAA, so you left Michigan with the very Pete Carroll USC.
He's Billy the Kid. He got away. Yeah. Billy the Kid. He robbed the train, and they can't find him.
And you guys pay the bill after when I'm gone. Not to mention, Scott, Michigan literally are losing like 22 players of this championship team. Like 17 of them are going to the NFL. They're all gone. And, by the way, Michigan's schedule next year is an effing killer. All right? They're playing the Oregon Ducks, the Washington Huskies, the USC Trojans, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And just because the schedule wasn't tough enough, Scott, we've got a non-conference game against the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
So, 10-2. But the one thing I'll say about this
10-2, my ass.
Well, 10-2 will get them into the playoffs. That's sort of the benchmark here that we're going to be looking at with a 12-team.
They're not winning 10 games with no quarterback, and their entire team is going to the NFL and graduating. They're not winning 10 games as sure as I'm sitting here. Let's talk about Patrick Waugh. You and I, get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. You got your national championship. You got your Rose Bowl. You need to calm me up down. 10 wins, this guy's saying. 10 wins, the whole team's gone, and your coach is gone. And you know what Sharon Moore's got? He just looked in his bag. He has no underwear, no socks. And Billy the Kid left with his horse, and the cops have him locked in a train. All right, so Patrick Waugh tonight going back to Montreal with the Islanders. I think that's a story in itself. The Montreal media is going to be frenzied.
Patrick Waugh sort of made more of this than it almost had to be because, as you stated, he's avoided the media. They had they didn't do a morning skate today, which I don't like. So Patrick Waugh is saying, "Oh, this is just another game." Yeah, it's another game, bro. That you've just changed the complete routine. He's hiding everyone from the media. They didn't do a morning skate today, and he said, "We're just going to be at the hotel all day. I don't want anybody talking to anybody. I don't want it to be about me." So you just took everything, you changed the routine basically because of you. And I got to be real.
Him.
Yeah, I got to be real. It's a big deal, but he's already been back, bro. It's been a long time. Like he was the coach of the Avalanche. So it's not like this is, a lot of people in Montreal, kids don't even know who the hell he is, right? They know who he is from history and stuff, but so he's played it, but it is a big game. So if you're an Islander player, you know what it means to Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh has always wanted to be the coach of the Montreal Canadiens, and they don't want him. They're like, you're a psycho, and you'll never be our coach, right? So it bothers him. So he's going to want this one badly. But if you're a Montreal Canadian player, how much do you like Martin St. Louis? like this is a big time game here. Like, we're going to see who steps up. This is a fun game between two teams. If you're the Canadians, you don't want to lose to Patrick Waugh and hear about this, right? And have to deal with this in the media. But that's why I think the Canadians step up tonight. And it's going to be a losing night for Patrick Waugh in his return.
Who would you rather have as your coach of the Montreal Canadiens, Marty St. Louis or Patrick Waugh?
Patrick
Waugh. And I say Waugh. And you know what?
No, and I'm a huge Patrick Waugh fan. He wasn't a good coach, Scott. He's a psychopath.
That's great. He's a psychopath. He's exactly what the Islanders need, a psychopath. Let me tell you something else.
Not what the Canadians need, though.
He went into the Quebec Juniors and dominated. He won a trophy, did everything, and that wasn't good enough for anybody either. What's wrong with those people up there is they're demented. Okay, in Montreal, they're demented, and they haven't sniffed it either since their 24 cups. So they've gotten there and they lost. So I don't want to hear how
Dallas
smart
Cowboys
they are,
Scott.
Yeah,
what
they
it
are.
Is, and it's the same way. They are not going to hire someone that's going to talk back to them. You know what I mean? They're not going to hire somebody that
that's what's wrong
is
with them.
bigger in the media than them, in a sense. Like, that's the way. No, but the thing is, Patrick Waugh.
I think you're right, but I think it's stupid.
Yeah, he's won with the Quebec Ramp. Listen, Scott, you're talking to some. Patrick Waugh is one of my favorite players in the world.
I know.
I've watched football games with the guy. I know I'm not best friends with him, obviously, but I know him. He's been cool. Like, I have a good relationship with Patrick Waugh. I love the guy. Love the guy to death. Love the guy to death. But he's sort of one of those guys. He might be better off as a college coach or like a junior coach. He's been calm. It's only been a week right now. He's the perfect fit for the Islanders. The Islanders were an irrelevant franchise that nobody cared about, that were just passionless. Patrick Waugh brings passion. right? So it's going to be fun. I can't wait to watch, see how it plays out tonight.
Listen, I believe in him, and I'll stand by what I say about him. Crazy is as crazy does. I think the Islanders are so much better off. They should have never fired Trotz. You talk about morons. All right, let me ask you about the Nuggets and Knicks tonight at the Garden. I want to go. I want to go to the game.
Oh, me too. What a game. I was talking with my boy Paul Bovey about this. And even the Knicks the other night in Brooklyn, man, everybody was there. Tyra Banks, Spike Lee.
It was lit.
All kinds of, different football players. Everybody was there, and I was thinking, damn, it's a hot ticket right now. They got the Nuggets rolling into town. The Nuggets are pretty good at handling this, but I don't want to get in front of this Knicks team right now, man. 11-2 since the deal with the Toronto Raptors. There's a lot of talk that Bruce Brown will be the next one. Bruce Brown's a winner, bro. I know you love this guy.
I love him.
He's on the Raptors right now, and why is he on the Raptors? He's a win. He's a guy that needs to be on a team that's going to compete in the playoffs. So looks like the Knicks are the front runners. The Knicks and the Raptors have a good connection and relationship when it comes to dealing. They're both happy with the last deal.
So who do they want? Grimes for Brown?
I think they might want picks now. I think they're at the point where, you know what I mean? They're going to be looking for picks. I don't know what they're going to get.
They just gave him a pick to do the deal.
That's the thing. What more do they have left?
Listen, watching Brunson bring them back the other night, it made me horny. They're really good. They're fun to watch. I think he was in transition dunking balls. He's big, long, and obviously Anunoby's just a badass. He's ripping boards, blocking shots, dunking, making the right plays. The Knicks are so much different than they were a month ago. It's not even funny. Great stuff. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll break down the title game.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with one touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
You have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
that was
late
good
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Fans always clamor for Dr. Shabako. Dr. David Chow at Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com, at Pro Football Doc on X. Dr. Chow, good to see you in San Diego. Usually we have you on Fridays. We got you today. Let's go back to when you were on the Chargers sideline and Jim Harbaugh broke his hand in the Jim Kelly incident. Tell me about that. And did you ever think then that this guy would end up being the coach that he's turned into in life?
Look, two separate instances, right? As far as the broken hand, he was with the Colts at the time, but they were about to play the San Diego Chargers. And I got a call saying that the Colts might need an x-ray. And it turned out it was related to the Jim Kelly incident. And Jim Harbaugh ended up having the wherewithal and brains that as he took a swing, and he's talked about this at Jim Kelly, that he actually used his left hand, not his right throwing hand, but he still broke it anyways. And so I got the phone call that he needed an x-ray. But let me tell you this. I love Jim Harbaugh. Great guy. I call him a friend. He's impressed the heck out of me as a head coach and whatever. But when he was playing actually after the Colts in San Diego as our starting quarterback for 2 years, no one ever thought about him being a head coach, not because he couldn't do it. Everyone knew that he had coaching in his blood from his dad and whatever. At this point in time, we didn't know anything about his brother being able to coach or do anything. So we would ask him and talk to him, what do you want to do afterwards? Are you going to be a coach? He actually said he wanted to maybe be an NFL referee. He wanted to be a zebra. That's what he told us back in 1999, 2000. So it's really interesting now that he's, quote, coming home, feels like coming home to the Chargers, albeit LA Chargers, not San Diego Chargers. And he's had a lot of time, and the bottom line is he never expressed that he wanted to be a head coach back then. But obviously he's done a great job, and I'm fully supportive of the hire.
What about I think it's the best thing Spanos has ever done. All he's ever done is screw up that team, and that's just all there is to it. And then he finally got it right.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Jimmy's won everywhere that he's gone. And let me tell you, he is a great leader. Like, it's really interesting in this world where NFL world and otherwise, the norm is to hire the hot coordinator, right? Jim Harbaugh has had tremendous success everywhere he's gone, and he's never been a coordinator. After, obviously, he was a leader in the NFL and in college at Michigan when he was a quarterback, but he went on to coach quarterbacks at the Raiders. Then he was head coach at University of San Diego here in town and won very successfully. Then Stanford, very successful. San Francisco won, got to a Super Bowl. Michigan, the national title. He's won everywhere he is, but he bucks the trend of you have to be this hotshot coordinator to get elevated. He's a great CEO, president, leader. And, always saw that in him. But like I said, I didn't realize he had the ambition to be a head coach. He said he wanted to be a referee.
Let's see if he can win a Super Bowl for the Chargers. They're desperate for one, and now he's got a quarterback that I think he can turn into a winner, because I don't think Orange Sherbert has been a winner at all. I think he's been a really good quarterback that never wins, and that's just all that matters in the NFL, winning. So let's see if he can rub off on that kid, because he's got talent. I just can never figure out how that kid never wins. All right, Mark Andrews, practicing fully. Will he play on Sunday? I'm doing the game with Morency at 3 o'clock.
Well, he was full practice Thursday and Friday last week, and he did not play. Full practice does not mean full health. However, this week, I do believe Mark Andrews will play, but that doesn't mean Isaiah Likely is benched. I think Isaiah Likely will still get lots of reps. I think Mark Andrews will play, but perhaps more red zone snaps and whatever as he works his way back. He's not 100%, but unlike last week when he was FP, full practice, and did not play, we do expect him to play this week.
Marlon Humphrey was limited at practice. What's his status?
I'm on the dubious side for him, dubious side of questionable for him. I'm quite sure he's going to get listed as questionable, but I don't think he's going to play, only because it's his second calf injury this year. This is his first time back at practice this week. And, you know, the cornerback position with your calf and backpedaling and changing directions, potential liability if he's not 100%. So I'm not particularly seeing that for the Ravens this week.
What about Pacheco? He's such a badass. He's not practicing this week, but he's just an animal. It was an animal last week. And is he going to go?
Yeah, I think Pacheco's been the difference in the Chiefs, quote, reawakening, right? I mean, in winning these two playoff games. He had a great game against Miami, great game against Buffalo. I do believe that he will play through this, but the difference is Miami had their linebacking core injured. Buffalo had part of their linebacking core injured. The Chiefs faced the Ravens, who are pretty healthy in the front seven. And, of course, no all-pro guard, left guard Joe Thuney. And we'll see what effect that has on Pacheco.
Thuney's not playing with a torn pec.
No, it's not a tendon tear, so he doesn't need surgery, but he's still not playing. Why? Because he's a left guard, and this is his right pec muscle. The most important thing anyone will tell you is protecting the A-gap. If he can't get out there and protect the inside center guard A-gap, that's a recipe for disaster. So I do not see him playing this week.
Snead and Gay were limited. Noddy didn't practice. What's the status of the Chiefs' defense?
Well, Snead has been playing through and likely will play. Gay, I think, will try and play through. He's promised to play through, but he was hurt before the Buffalo game. Not very many snaps and aggravated his neck, and he's out. So even if he plays, I don't know that he finishes, and the Chiefs need him. He might be the spy on Lamar Jackson, and Noddy is not likely to play, which, you know, the run game for the Ravens is pretty good there. So those are two other worry points for the Chiefs.
Deebo Samuel was limited in practice today. What are the chances of him playing with this shoulder issue? I mean, he was 5 minutes into that game against the Packers, and he was done.
Yeah, you know, a lot of doom and gloom in game and immediately after the game, comparisons to the week 6 injury, which was a scapular fracture. By video, we never saw a scapular fracture. So sometimes what you don't see is as important as what you do see. So all week, including from the game, we've had cautious optimism that Deebo Samuel can indeed play. We're on the happy or upside of questionable for Deebo Samuel playing this week for the 49ers against the Lions.
Jonah Jackson had surgery for a meniscus tear and won't be there to protect Goff. And Ragnar was all kinds of banged up last week against the Bucs. What is the status of the Lions up front going to Santa Clara?
Well, that's not a good picture, especially when the 49ers defensive line is getting healthy. Eric Armstead came back last week and played 60% of the plays for the first time. Kinlaw and Hargrave are more healthy. Obviously, their linebacker with 2 picks, Dre Greenlaw, is healthy with his Achilles tendonitis up the middle. The bottom line is the 49ers front 7 is pretty healthy. Jonah Jackson, we always thought by video he had a lateral meniscus tear. That's basically been confirmed. He's out. Ragnow has a left high ankle, left knee MCL. That's a problem. And don't forget Brock Wright. Brock Wright is a tight end, but he's mostly a blocking tight end, and he's out for this game. And yes, they signed Zach Ertz. He might not even get the playbook and be active. And he's also not the blocking tight end that Brock Wright is. So that's almost the 6th offensive lineman that's out. Will we see more Dan Skipper, number 70, signaling in? I don't know. The bottom line is that's another thing that hurts their run offense. Brock Wright on top of Jonah Jackson and Frank Ragnow. So that's going to be something to watch. Left guard position is key in both games leading up to the Super Bowl.
The Lions tight end room all banged up. They brought in Zach Ertz. Laporta's been playing. I don't think he's been bad at all. I mean, he may be in pain. He doesn't look like he's limping or suffering with that knee. What's the status for these two? Like, Can they plug and play Ertz and Laporta and get away with both?
Well, like we said, Ertz is a different type of tight end than Brock Wright. So they're going to have to change the package. Of course, Ertz is going to have to learn plays, right? Which he's a veteran. He's got his same tight end coach now in Detroit as he had in Arizona. That tight end coach came from Arizona before landing with the Lions. And the bottom line is Laporta still is not 100% on his left knee, but he's getting it done because he's very talented. But, on that 3rd and goal play when they threw him the slant and it was a high ball, he couldn't even jump off his left knee to go catch it. The brace restricts him. He's less than 100%, but of course he's going to play. I'm not sure how much of a contribution Ertz will have. His addition is just too new.
What about Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond? They didn't practice yesterday. And what kind of targets is Goff going to have?
Well, of course, he'll have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And, of course, Jameson Williams, coming off his high ankle a few weeks ago, is healthier and healthier. I do not believe they will have Khalif Raymond. By video, we've said that's a PCL sprain, and he's still out for that. Josh Reynolds should be able to play through. So he should have Josh Reynolds. So no Khalif Raymond, Laporta less than 100%. Obviously, no Brock Wright, maybe Zach Ertz, and I think Josh Reynolds will be in there.
All right, so let's go back to the fight with Harbaugh and Kelly. Harbaugh was still playing. Kelly was, I think, broadcasting a Colts-Bills game, and he crashed into a production meeting and started throwing hands with Kelly, and then broke his non-throwing hand. Is that about right? And what? Like, I broke my hand in 5 places. How bad did he break it?
Well, I don't want to go too far into HIPAA. All that other stuff's been talked about publicly. I don't want to get into the particulars without talking to Jim and allowing for release. I've got more Jim stories too, but I'm always respectful of players and patient confidentiality. But that situation, Jim Harbaugh has spoken about. He didn't like the way Jim Kelly called him soft. And he approached Jim Kelly in a production meeting when he was with the Colts about to play the Chargers and said, "What gives? You're calling me soft. My kids read this." Let me tell you something about Jim Harbaugh. Fun-loving, who's got it better than us? Nobody, the whole deal. He has a big competitive edge and chip on his shoulder that I don't think everyone sees. And that's part of his winning. And I say this as a positive. He doesn't back down to anyone. He wasn't going to back down to an announcer, Jim Kelly. I've seen him go at it with his own offensive lineman when he was in San Diego with the Chargers. Not in a bad way, but come on, you need to do your job. No, he doesn't back down. Dan Campbell is this competitive guy and fire and brimstone. I think Jim's personality gets washed down as, he's this nice guy, whatever. He's got that competitive fire inside, and I think his locker rooms see it and feed off of it.
Real quick, I wish they would have never left San Diego. Can you imagine this guy coaching the Chargers in San Diego? Meanwhile, now he's going to coach them in that stadium where they have no fans. It's all visitor fans there.
Well, we take them back. No, just kidding. I mean, that's way beyond my.
No, you should take them back. You should get them back. You should kidnap them back to San Diego is what I have to say. All right, Doc, we'll see you next week. Great stuff, buddy.
Thanks.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy,
the early line,
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
You have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
in-game live,
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
that was
late
good betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High. Patrick Mahomes. How about this? Last 21 times as an underdog, they've won 16 against the spread and 15 straight up as a dog.
Yep, no doubt. Been outstanding as an underdog in his career. Of course, big challenge again, going on the road for the 2nd week in a row. Knows a tough test waits for him in Baltimore. Here's Mahomes.
Yeah, no, it's challenging. The way he's able to just be a competitor and score the football, obviously, and then their entire team. I mean, it's a tall task. You got to go out there and play your best football, and if you make any mistakes, it seems like the game's going to go the other way. So we've been able to play in a couple games, not in a few years now, but I've admired watching him from afar and know that it's going to be a great challenge for us every time we go up against him.
Is there a type of challenge facing a guy like that that's at the high level this year?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to be the MVP for a reason. I mean, he goes out there, he leads his team, he scores, he runs, he throws, he does whatever it takes to win, and that's what the greats do. And like I said, it'll be a great challenge for our defense, but also a great challenge for our offense going against their defense. So it's going to take a full team effort if we want to find a way to get a win.
I mean, this guy, how about 17-3 straight up in their last 20 against the AFC, 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 matchups with Baltimore, 4-1 straight up in their last 5 against Baltimore. And like I said, 16 covers in 21 games as a dog. I mean, he's talking, it's like he's looking at himself in the mirror when he's talking about Lamar Jackson. What doesn't this guy Mahomes do that Jackson does besides nothing? Mahomes does everything Jackson does, and betting against that guy is the kiss of death. Honestly, you bet against that Mahomes, you lose money. That's what happens. All these people think this is some walk in the park for Baltimore. They're taking on this guy. He's an absolute serial killer.
I want no part of it. I'd love to see Baltimore win, but I ain't running the window to go betting against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. I know that. I ain't doing it.
I'm telling you.